Israel has released a video of its raids into Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa. The IDF said that its troops uncovered weapons from inside the hospital compound. A video released by the IDF shows automatic weapons, grenades, ammunition, and flak jackets within the Al-Shifa complex. Israel says Hamas operates its headquarters from beneath the hospital. Hamas has denied these accusations. Meanwhile, medics in the hospital moved patients on stretchers through smoke and dust-filled corridors. Videos released by Gaza's health ministry also purportedly showed the damage caused to the Al-Shifa emergency department. This was following an Israeli strike on the building yesterday. The medical staff feared that patients in the ICU were facing death after being moved away from life support. The head of the World Health Organization has condemned Israel's actions in Al-Shifa, calling it totally unacceptable. The WHO Director General added that patients and staff must be protected even if hospitals were being used for military purposes. Meanwhile, the UN aid chief has urged Israel to allow humanitarian aid into Gaza via the Kerem Shalom crossing in Israel. A new explosion rocked Khan Yunis city in southern Gaza. Survivors say the strike hit a family house to the east of Khan Yunis. Health officials in Gaza said at least 6 people were killed in this strike. The injured were rushed to the Nasser hospital. Nasser hospital is said to be one of the few remaining health facilities still in operation in Gaza. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has accused Israel of storing nuclear bombs. Erdogan has further called on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to clarify whether Israel had nuclear bombs or not. So far, Israel has always maintained ambiguity when it comes to its nuclear arsenal. The Turkish leader has called Israel a terror state that was committing war crimes and violating international law. US President Joe Biden spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Biden said he has made it clear to Netanyahu that a two-state solution was the only answer to resolve the Israel-Palestinian conflict. He also said that occupying Gaza would be a quote-unquote big mistake. In other political news, Biden has concluded the meeting with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. The talks were focused on easing friction between the two nations amid rising tensions. However, in a presser after their meeting, Biden reiterated his view that Xi was effectively a dictator. However, the two nations agreed to collaborate in some areas. They agreed to resume military-to-military communications and to work to curb the production of the drug fentanyl. A Russian missile smashed into an apartment block in the eastern Ukrainian town of Selydove yesterday. 2 people were killed and 3 were injured. Ukraine's national police said 4 missiles struck the area shortly after midnight. 5 people, including a child, were rescued from one building that was heavily damaged in the attack. Defense ministers and officials from the US, China, Russia and other countries gathered in the Indonesian capital city of Jakarta. The meeting came as part of the annual ASEAN Defense Ministers Summit. During their meeting, the ministers called for a ceasefire in Gaza and a durable solution in Myanmar. North Korea has criticized a recent visit of American defense officials to South Korea. A spokesperson for North Korea's defense ministry blamed the US for raising tensions in the region. Pyongyang has vowed more offensive responses against alleged military threats from the US and its allies. The British Supreme Court has ruled that the UK government's scheme to send asylum seekers to Rwanda is unlawful. The announcement deals a blow to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's immigration reforms. Britain wanted to send tens of thousands of asylum seekers to the African nation. However, the UK's top court decided Rwanda cannot be considered a safe country. Following this, Sunak said that his government will introduce an emergency legislation. The resolution would confirm that Rwanda is indeed a safe nation for asylum seekers. Meanwhile, the Australian government has been forced to release 83 foreign nationals from detention. This was after the Australian High Court ruled that the indefinite detention of immigrants was unlawful. Those released also included people convicted for crimes like murder and sexual assault in Australia and overseas. The released individuals have all served their jail sentences in Australia. However, they were still being held in detention and not granted visas because of security concerns. Their release has sparked a political backlash. The Australian government has said that it will introduce new legislation. This will allow it to put ankle bracelets, curfews and other rules to monitor dozens of foreigners with criminal records. At least 36 people were killed and 17 injured in a bus accident in India's Jammu and Kashmir yesterday. The bus fell into a nearly 90-meter deep gorge in Jammu's Doda district. The bus slid off a Himalayan highway and rolled down a steep slope. In climate news, the World Meteorological Organization reported that greenhouse gas concentrations hit a record high in 2022. This revelation comes just ahead of the UN climate conference COP28 in Dubai. The global average carbon dioxide concentrations were 50% above pre-industrial levels for the first time. The WMO highlights the link between higher greenhouse gas concentrations and extreme weather events. Methane and nitrous oxide levels also surged, contributing to the ongoing climate challenges. Meanwhile, the European Union plans to bring down methane emissions coming out of the fossil fuel industry. The European Union Parliament and its members have decided to put a limit on methane emissions from 2030. A maximum methane intensity value will be imposed on all international fossil fuel suppliers. The law aims to pressure suppliers to ensure that no greenhouse gases leak during production. Methane is the second biggest contributor to climate change. The Popocatépetl volcano in Mexico started spewing ash and smoke yesterday. It had reportedly released ash and smoke 15 times in the last day. The Mexican Disaster Prevention Center issued a yellow alert. Local authorities also warned people to avoid climbing the volcano. There are growing concerns of a volcanic eruption in Iceland's Grindavik town. About 800 earthquakes were recorded in southwestern Iceland between midnight and noon yesterday. Long cracks on Grindavik's main road made it impassable. Steam could be seen rising from the ground. Local authorities had already evacuated over 4,000 people from Grindavik on Saturday. Multiple fires have engulfed the world's largest wetland. It's in Brazil's Pantanal region. Brazil's National Institute for Space Research recorded 706 active wildfires in the region on Sunday. Over 300 firefighters and 4 aircraft have been deployed to fight the flames. The fires in the region have reportedly tripled since last year. Areas which were rehabilitating from last year's fires are burning again, hindering the natural regeneration process. Areas of northern France are still recovering after devastating floods, but heavy downpour has turned into lighter rain, bringing some respite to residents in the region. The restoration of electricity in over 500 houses is still in the works. French President Emmanuel Macron had declared a state of natural disaster for 214 municipalities in northern France. A group of baby turtles were released in an Amazon river of the Peruvian northern Loreto state. This happened as a part of their preservation process. The species is known as the yellow-spotted river turtle. They are on the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List of threatened species. The turtles nested in a protected area in September before being released in the wild. In business and tech news, British inflation cooled by more than expected in October. Official data showed that annual consumer price inflation plunged to 4.6%. This has offered some relief to the Bank of England and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Sunak had promised to halve price growth this year. However, the economy still faced potential risks. Barclays has warned that the UK economy is facing stagflation and the road ahead will be challenging. The International Monetary Fund has urged countries to make a more proactive push to develop central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. 11 countries, including a number in the Caribbean and Nigeria, have already launched CBDCs. Meanwhile, around 120 others are exploring their launch. CBDC is the digital form of a country's fiat currency, which is regulated by its central bank. Financial firm Ernst & Young has appointed Janet Trunkale as Global Chief Executive. She replaces Carmine DiCibio, whose reason for exit is not known. Trunkale has spent more than 30 years at the firm after joining as an intern. She will start in her new role from July 2024. The French Supreme Court has annulled a penalty of nearly $2 billion imposed on Swiss bank UBS over a tax fraud case. This was for helping wealthy clients in France evade taxes. The top court has ordered the return of the case to a lower court for a new decision on the fine. The court has upheld the guilty verdict against the bank, though. However, it said a new trial was needed because the previous decision did not follow all the correct legal procedures. New York State has sued PepsiCo, accusing it of polluting the environment. The state's Attorney General said PepsiCo generated a significant share of plastic waste in the Buffalo River. The lawsuit accuses PepsiCo of endangering public health within its single-use plastic bottle caps and wrappers. The lawsuit is among the first by a U.S. state to target a major plastics producer. Shares of American retail store Target surged nearly 19% yesterday. This was after the company forecast better than expected profit for the next quarter. Amid yesterday's jump, share prices of Target recorded their best day since 2019. French car maker Renault has made a new announcement regarding its electric vehicles unit Ampere. It expects Ampere to make $11 billion in revenues in 2025. This is expected to more than double to $27 million by 2031. The news came as Renault held an investor day for Ampere. Ampere is also planning to launch its initial public offering next year. Elon Musk denied a report over a potential initial public offering for Starlink. Musk said this on his social media platform X. He commented false on a post carrying the report that broke this story. According to the report, SpaceX is discussing an initial public offering for its satellite internet business, Starlink, as soon as 2024. An independent non-profit organization, Check My Ads, has filed a formal complaint with the U.S. antitrust regulator. It has urged the Federal Trade Commission to investigate the advertising practices at X, which was formerly known as Twitter. Check My Ads has accused X of running advertisements without ad labels and necessary disclosures. The organization says this misleads consumers on the platform. Half of American adults get at least some news from social media. This is according to a new study by the Pew Research Center. 30% of Americans access news from Facebook, while 26% go to YouTube. This is followed by TikTok, which is used by 14% of Americans. Moreover, the percentage of TikTok users who regularly access news via the app almost doubled to 43% in 2023 from 22% last year. Moving to sports, let's start with the Cricket World Cup. India beat New Zealand by 70 runs to reach the ICC 2023 ODI World Cup final. The men in blue batted first and scored a whopping 397 runs in their innings. Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer both scored centuries. New Zealand got off to a good start but lost a couple of wickets. Daryl Mitchell and Kane Williamson established a strong partnership and were looking like they were going to run away with the game. A second spell by Mohammad Shami broke their partnership and put India on the winning track. Shami went on to pick 7 wickets and was declared player of the match for his performance. India will now play in the ODI World Cup final on the 19th of November. batter Virat Kohli scripted history during last night's match against New Zealand. Kohli smashed 117 runs before he got out. This was his 50th century in one-day international cricket. He now has the highest number of ODI centuries Kohli broke the record of Indian legend Sachin Tendulkar, who has 49 ODI tons to his name. Indian pacer Mohammad Shami stole the game away from New Zealand batters last night. Shami took 7 wickets for 57 runs in his 10-over spell. He has now become the first bowler to pick a 5-wicket haul 4 times in an ODI World Cup. Shami has become the fastest bowler to take 50 wickets in ODI World Cups. He has achieved this milestone in just 17 World Cup innings. Shami also recorded the best bowling figures in an ODI World Cup and became the first to take 7 wickets in the big tournament. In other cricket news, Babar Azam has stepped down as the captain of Pakistan across all formats. Babar took to social media to announce his resignation. He added that he will continue to play for Pakistan and will support Pakistan's incoming captain. Pakistan have selected Shaheen Afridi as the captain for ODIs and T20s. Meanwhile, Shan Masood will lead Pakistan in Test cricket. Moving to football, Liverpool forward Luis Diaz had an emotional reunification with his father. The Colombian striker's father had been kidnapped by rebels and the ordeal lasted almost 3 weeks. After seeing each other for the first time since the kidnapping, both Diaz and his father broke down. Diaz's father says the kidnapping has really affected him. Moving to tennis, world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz won in the group stage at the ATP Finals. Spaniard Alcaraz beat Russian Andrei Rublev 7-5, 6-2 in straight sets. Alcaraz next faces Russia's Daniil Medvedev on Friday. The winner of that match will secure a spot in the semi-final. India's Rohan Bopanna scripted history at the ATP Finals. At 43 years, Bopanna has become the oldest player to win a match at the year-ending tournament. Bopanna and his partner Matthew Ebden beat Jason Kubler and Rinki Hijikata 6-4, 6-4. They are now 1 win away from reaching the semi-final. Spanish tennis star Rafael Nadal says he's recovering well from his injury. Nadal says, and I quote, "The Olympic Games are a few months away. It would be a dream to play there if everything goes okay." The Spaniard has been off the court after hurting his hip flexor at the Australian Open earlier this year. Burglars broke into the South African Rugby Union's headquarters in Cape Town. CCTV footage shows the robbers trying to steal the Rugby World Cup trophy that South Africa won last month. Officials say that the original trophy and its replica are both safe. In golf, pro-Scottish player Rory McIlroy has resigned from the PGA Tour's policy board. Reports say that McIlroy was unhappy with the PGA facing turbulence after its merger with Saudi-backed Live Golf. McIlroy has cited personal and professional reasons for his resignation. The move has taken the golf community by storm, with some calling it shocking and unexpected. Now to entertainment news. Talk show host and comedian Jimmy Kimmel is set to host the Academy Awards again this year. This will be Kimmel's 4th time hosting the Oscars. After the announcement, Kimmel said he always dreamed of hosting the Oscars exactly 4 times. The 96th Academy Awards will take place on the 10th of March next year. In October, we saw the 60th anniversary of the first James Bond film, Dr. No. And in honor of the franchise's milestone, the British Royal Mint launched a special coin collection yesterday. The collection is called the 007 range. These coins come in gold and silver and feature unique designs linking them to the franchise. The trailer for the upcoming Spider-Man spin-off Madame Web was released yesterday. 50 Shades of Grey actor Dakota Johnson will play the Marvel comic book character Cassandra Webb. Webb's character has the psychic ability to foresee the future. The film is slated for release next year. Actor Pedro Pascal is being considered for the lead role in the upcoming film Fantastic Four. He's reportedly in talks with the studios to play the iconic character Richard Reeds. Reeds is a scientist who has the ability to bend his body in any way he wants. Marvel Studios is closing in on casting for the film as the superhero team enters the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Actor Scarlett Johansson has addressed the rumors surrounding the return of her Black Widow character to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In an interview, the actor coyly responded, saying that it would be a vampire or zombie version. Johansson has also called the rumored return a real Marvel miracle. Black Widow's character came to an end in 2019's Avengers Endgame film. Streaming giant Netflix has decided to shelve more series from its collection. The decision concerns shows like Shadow and Bone, Glamorous, Agent Elvis, and Captain Fall. This decision reportedly comes after Netflix evaluated its content strategy after the recently concluded Hollywood actors' strike. A production house has decided to turn actor Gwyneth Paltrow's ski accident trial into a musical. It'll revolve around Paltrow's legal battle with retired optometrist Terry Sanderson. Sanderson sued Gwyneth Paltrow for a ski accident in 2016. During the trial this year, Sanderson alleged that Paltrow's recklessness led to him getting injured. Actor Robert Pattinson seems to like an out-of-the-box lifestyle. The Twilight actor revealed in an interview that for the longest time, the only furniture he owned was an inflatable boat. He used the boat as a bed, couch, and dining table. Pattinson said he loved it even though it caused him back problems. The Grey's Anatomy doctors have reunited to start shooting for the show's 20th season. They all gathered at the ABC studios for the table reading session post the actors' strike. Actors like James Pickens Jr. and Camilla Luddington posted insights from the meeting on Instagram. Singer Billie Eilish, who's known for her dramatic hair colors, has returned to her black roots. Explaining her decision of going back to black, she said she lost her identity with the other colors. The hair transformations that initially made her happy later felt like they completely swallowed her up. Eilish expressed that she wanted to feel how she was in 2019 again.